Hey, it's Michael. How's it going? Welcome to week 4. So a lot of effort last week. I really appreciate it. Went through a little bit of a hiccup getting started, making sure that Canvas and Mural are kept separate. I will say I did also see and appreciate that people come in and offer comments. Uh, in mural to other people's work, and it really is important to look at other people's work and help however you can. Just be aware that the way I am grading participation is indeed just really that, like, based on when did you participate. So quick notice, this is Wednesday. I hope to have some participation early in the week. And some of these are designed in order to get early work started so that you can get any course correction or help that I can do to help you focus on what's important. Because right now, I'm really not concerned so much in the techniques here. I want you to know, why are we doing this so that you later can apply these towards seeing something in a way that you probably are not used to seeing. You're not used to seeing organizing principles. And let me just show you in a meta way that we started with Mural, and it was very messy because there wasn't really any organizational principles. Now, I hope you understand I'm trying to use, like, they have invented this way to line things up. And for many of you, it did line things up. It didn't always work, and that's a part of a real challenge. By the way, all of this, as we will find, is challenging. Organizing information is definitely challenging. So, yeah, all the challenges are hopefully worthwhile and leading you to appreciate it and use this later in order to critique other systems. So we went through, and the important thing this week was, I really don't care where you got your data from, right? It's just a starting point in order for you to look at and really understand the patterns involved in that data. Let me pause. Welcome to the biggest challenge of the next forever, which is with the advent of AI, and of course that we have businesses that completely run upon data. Most of that data is pretty poorly organized, if not terribly organized, right? Now, what does that mean for AI? It means AI really can try to organize something. I work on this quite a bit in my consultancy work, which is trying to help people use the information that their company creates. Incredibly challenging to do, by the way. So just to let you know, yeah, that's you're in the thick of it. Do you have data that's worthwhile? Fortunately, we're using topics that hopefully aren't ultra unfamiliar to you. That's why I'm learning about you and getting ideas from the topics that you pick. And I'm just going to pick someone at random just so I can show you one thing that I have told every single person, yet it does not seem to be clicking yet. And again, not to pick on Jade here, um, but it's only this one. You found a list of top movies. By the way, that's already an organizing principle. Great. We'll come up with those. You'll come up with them yourself. Top anything is definitely a thing we probably actually won't get to until week 9, because how do you know that one thing is better than another? So all I ask you to do is take this column and delete it. That's all. Now, in terms of representing movies, they have names, years, genres, again, ratings, delete them. They have directors, they have descriptions, I guess, and actors. 100% fantastic. This is data that is usable to model all movies. Now, when I say all movies, is there an attribute that would make one movie? Let's say I made a movie called Schindler's List. That's great. What makes it different from this Schindler's List? Well, maybe it's the year it was released or the director. Right now, yeah, a different director. So you want to make sure that you handle maybe some ideas that might come up later, and you can change your data later, right? Like, the data is kind of set in stone right now, but if you run into problems, feel free to add columns or anything that you need later. So thank you for letting me use this as an example, but I think that hopefully makes sense. I've said it many times that metadata is data about data. This is the data part. We're just at the very bottom of the pyramid, and literally we are still working on patterns. Patterns are just ways to recognize life itself is based on pattern recognition, right? So we're just looking in our data and making sure that it makes some sense to us because we're now the information architect. We're now looking at this model, we'll call it a model, right? Which is just fields that describe something with text in it that describes something. A couple of you, uh, I think I got into the numeric thing. Remember, if you've got a bunch of numbers in a table, there is only one IA, which is called data analysis. It's and using statistical methods and so on and so forth. So that's the information architecture of numbers, which is very sophisticated, by the way. Most people are pretty familiar with how to do a pie chart. Many people are not familiar with qualitative organization, which again, great topic for the world we live in now, which is most things need qualitative understanding, such as ratings. Ratings are a qualitative way, well, they're quantitative, but they're really expressing quality, right? Like this is better than another thing. Leave that aside. We'll get to it. Hopefully, I haven't confused more of you than is necessary. Because now, speaking of confusion, we're going to still we're going to start to add um, a structure to this. Now, what is a structure? A structure in our world is going to be HTML. If you, by the way, if you aren't doing this, please do start with outline number one. Read and understand this before you get started, even though I will say there's a pretty easy thing you can do right off the bat. I also posted the movie I made about how to mark up and some of the things I look for when marking up. So you're going to need to learn HTML this week. Well, and next week, because this is assignment two, is the HTML markup of 3 records from your data set. How hard could it be? If you know HTML, you will probably not do necessarily as well in this assignment as you think you will, because HTML is going to be used deliberately as a semantic markup and a controlled vocabulary, and I'll get into all that if you want to take your time reading and understanding what our goals are with HTML. I've got a few reasons why we're doing this. One is that the fact that how things look is really immaterial. It's how they are marked up, and markup is also the whole way the internet works because most sites are not read by humans, they're read by machines. So if you're not familiar with Brad Foss, this is kind of old now, but it's the idea of these components, these small pieces that make up the entirety of how we understand the web, which in fact is all based on markup. Markup is usually not semantic, so there is a proper HTML5 is the method we're going to use, which is now fairly old, but people still don't understand that HTML5 was invented for semantic purposes. What is HTML5? It's right here. Here's your cheat sheet. These are the tags you can use. Thankfully, they are pretty much just English words. So all you're really trying to do is to match the concepts here with your concepts, which I give a lot of advice, okay? I even give you a template if you wish, if you're not familiar with, but really the goal here is thoughtfulness, not accuracy, and we are going to use a tool called JS Fiddle, which is linked up in, I guess I should put a link to JS Fiddle here. But you'll be sharing same way. Use the public link. Anyone can view your work on JS Fiddle. Share it here. And the very first goal is the easiest one. You're not going to even use HTML. You're just going to use the name of your column headers. So if you have a column header called movie name or title, your first record will be in our in our semantic context here, a tag called title and one of the examples, and then end title. I'm just getting you used to the fact that you're going to mark up a piece of content with a word. Okay, and the first words aren't going to be HTML. They're just going to be words that you already have in your column names. Your job is to translate that into these words. And that's going to take the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to give you lots of help if I can. And I'm just going to show you again, the viewing of things is not important right here. If you have pictures, by the way, you're just going to say picture and then nothing really is going to be marked up because there is no content to a picture other than a file. But this is getting us into how different ways you can look at the same thing. And that'll become actually more evident in a few weeks, but we're still going to work mainly here. Also, hey, why are we learning HTML? I don't know. Maybe I've given you some hints. You can give me your ideas and don't feel obligated to repeat what someone else has said. Participation, as I said to me, is really about promptness and attention to the topics at hand rather than just saying something. Just pro tip. I know this was a long a long video. Hopefully it's helpful. Always happen to, in here you can also ask questions. Anything you need, please share with others because that is going to help everybody. Hopefully not get overwhelmed with some of the challenges that we're going to have. But thank you all for getting your data done and welcome to week 4.